What's up guys, Chris here with a review of the newly released Project Cars. Boy, have we been waiting for it for a long time, but it is finally here and initial impressions are very good. We're going to start with the visuals, something that there has been a lot of talk of with Project Cars, and it is certainly one of the most spectacular looking games in recent history, but I feel like that's been touched on by pretty much everyone. So what I want to do is to get into the real nitty gritty of the circuit design, because I feel like that's where a lot of game developers really slouch. So I'm going to use Spa as an example, because it's a circuit you'll find in any racing game, and it's a track that I know a lot about. If you look at Codemasters, F1 Series, or even R Factor, they get the circuit elevation and the curbing all wrong. They use wide, tall curves that really throw the car off. But in reality, they're much narrower and flatter. Looking at Les Combs specifically, Slightly Mad Studios have got the curbing just right, I feel. They've really worked on the camber as well. The first part of Les Combs has a tendency to induce a bit of understeer in the car. And then also into Malmedy, the car doesn't really like the snappy change of direction, so the rear tends to go a bit light there. Second Stavelot, if you clip that inside curb with your right front tyre, the front end picks up a whole load of grip and really unsettles the rear. So it's good to see that they've got that level of detail in the game, and if you need any further proof on how great elevation change is in this game, then Brands Hatch GP. Oh boy, is that a roller coaster ride. And the weather looks pretty awesome as well. I've only had a little bit of wet weather running, got a spattering of rain in an online race I did at Hockenheim. That's sort of really seen a bit, but I did like what I saw. So let's move on now then to the audio. And boy, is Project Cars a loud game. I mean, the engine sounds really are astonishing, and they speak for themselves, really. I mean, but you can tell the developers spent just as much time with the other noises, like the car hitting the ground at high speed, when you hit the curbs, contact with other cars. And the game's got a really nice soundtrack to it as well. And I know that's not the most important thing in the world, but it really does just add to the experience. But it is those little extras, like the secondary car noises, that really make this game tick. And they come through visually as well. And if you're using a helmet cam like I do, then you really do feel it. And I have to say that it's feel that is a really big thing with this game, because it is more on the simulator side of things. Okay, it's no iRacing or Game Stock Car Extreme, but it's certainly the closest thing console players have gotten to these sorts of games. And you can really feel what's going on around you. You can feel the contact with the other cars, the brakes locking up, and I think that's such an important thing in a game like this. And because the physics and the handling have been designed for that, then it makes stuff like jumping from a Ginetta Junior to an LMP1 car quite simple, really. And that's one of the other things I really like about Project Cars, is the variety of cars. It's got some really awesome cars, from road goers through GT4, GT3, prototypes, right up to the single seaters from all sorts of classes as well. I mean, it makes for a very diverse game, even though a lot of PC players who have R Factor and iRacing, Assetto Corsa, etc., then there might not be anything in Project Cars that really kind of screams out at you, nothing that makes you say, well, I have to buy this game now. But I don't really think that's the aim of this game, because for console users, a game with this level of realism and this variety is a rarity, and somewhat of a revolution for console players, I feel. And when you put it together with such an awesome track list, then yeah, that's a pretty awesome game you've got there. When you're racing other cars, the AI shows no mercy, and they really do push you, even at the amateur and beginner levels. They don't shy away from going up the inside, defending their position, or generally just diverting from the racing line to race you. And it makes single player racing a lot of fun. Even when you're at the back of the pack. I mean, I had some really good races in Ginetta Juniors and Clio Cup car, trying to get a bit of the old touring car action going, and I was starting at the back, and I have to say, once you get past the shock of how sensitive some of these cars are, then the AI is a large portion of why Project Cars is such a fun game to play. And now we need to get onto some of the things that I'm not so happy with, and the first one is the penalty system, which has plagued a lot of racing games in the past, not least some of Codemasters' F1 games. And it isn't so much the distribution of penalties as it is invalidating lap times when you run off the track. I feel it's incredibly harsh and inconsistent. I was doing a race at Brands Hatch, and every time you went off at Paddock Hill Bend, you would have your lap time invalidated, even if you dipped a couple of wheels into the gravel. But then 2 corners later at Hill, you run all 4 wheels off the track and nothing happens. And running wide there actually gives you an advantage. Whereas at Paddock Hill Bend, that gravel's going to slow you down. It would be nice if it was only implemented on laps where you gained an advantage from running off like that. Because you have those short qualifying sessions, especially online, you can find yourself in a position where a lot of drivers have no lap time. And I know it's only release day, but this game has been in development for over 2 years now on PC, and it's really something that they should have under wraps by now, because it can really agitate the players. My other issue with Project Cars at the moment is to do with the online mode. I'm not sure if I like everything about the layout and the organisation of all the information, the settings, options, etc. I feel it's quite a bit fiddly, a bit messy. It can make navigation a bit of an issue sometimes. Although I have to say that their servers have been holding up pretty well with all the online traffic they've been getting in these opening days. Although I did have one race at Brands and GT3s where there was quite a bit of lag at times, and it's a really big thing in racing games. It's different to say like a first-person shooter, because when you get lag, everyone keeps shooting and you hope you hit someone, and if not, then oh well. But when lag hits you in a racing game, especially in one as challenging as this, then once you get your frame rates back up, you can find yourself in the wall. And that isn't a great experience, because let's face it, that wasn't your fault. So yes, it has its niggles, but I have to say I'm really enjoying playing this game at the moment. It's great fun, it's a visual masterclass, the audio is just exceptional, and it really makes the experience just so great, and you're constantly in shock all of the time. Great game for single player. Online needs a bit of work, but I can honestly say that I can see myself playing this game for a long time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Be sure to check out the website, thebeckett'sblog.com, if you haven't already. Follow us on Twitter @thebeckett'sblog, and follow me @cstevens_journo. Bye.